In episode number 238, we cover the new Cosmunity app, the app for people that go to conventions and to follow your favorite cosplayers.
We also talk about Marvel Comics' recent marketing, a ploy to get people to pick up more comics. Not gonna happen, DC still on top.
From the director of my least favorite of the Marvel films, Joss Whedon, we cover the rumor or the report that he will be directing the solo live-action Batgirl film.
And our comic book highlight of the week is Harley's Little Black Book number 6.
All of this and more on today's show. Hello and welcome to the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, bringing you the reasons we're broke every single week, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Kelly.
For any new brokettes on the show, the way we format it is first we cover some news, we move into our Patreon shoutout of the week, and then we end with a comic and or movie review. So this week we don't have a movie review coming your way, but instead the finale to Harley's Little Black Book.
But before we get into all of that, there have been some exciting things going on around us this week. One of the biggest things, WrestleMania!
If you live in Florida, you cannot escape WrestleMania. It is a thing. Everyone around you is attending it. So I know a lot of friends on my Facebook page and also on Twitter. I know some brokettes out there that do live in Florida were able to go to WrestleMania. And being that I do work right out of Orlando, yes, I saw people coming in, talking about WrestleMania, getting $500 tickets for some people, and I'm just sitting here like, holy shit, everyone's a millionaire here in Florida. And that was the perfect way to troll some of my friends online, and just the more they said, well, no, like, they immediately went into the defense mode, which I thought was hilarious, because it's just a joke, but they're like, well, I got mine for $50. Now, someone on Facebook, I was like, $50? Holy crap, did they have a private jet parking lot? The more they like came back at it, the more I blew it up as like they were the richest people in the whole wide world, made it as ridiculous as possible.
At some point, people are just going to stop talking to you. They're just not going to tell you anything. You're going to ask them things and be like, yeah, whatever, Dan.
Or they'll catch on to the joke and think it's funny like some people did on Facebook.
Or they'll stop talking to you. I think that is the more likely answer.
It's cool that people got to go. I know a lot of friends are really into wrestling, so it's very fortunate that they have this huge event that they can drive to. And a lot of people did come in from out of state, which is, great for the local economy. So good on WrestleMania and good on people that actually got to go, that live in the area and have that opportunity. Mm-hmm. So I'm all for it, even though I don't watch wrestling, more of a UFC guy myself. But I'm glad that it is there because it was a huge success from what I saw on Twitter. People were really happy with the matchups. It was a multi-day event and good for everyone. Good for all of the wrestlers.
The only thing I heard about WrestleMania was that John Cena proposed to somebody. And I was like, aw, that's sweet. And then I thought, wait, this is wrestling. Is this stage 2?
Probably.
Probably.
And all the wrestler people are, yeah, no, it's not stage. It's real. I know that's real. He said he wouldn't get married again. Mm-hmm. And now he's going to get married again.
Seems to be a trend with people saying they'll never get married. And then they get married.
Speaking of which, how's the baby?
Baby's good. Baby was kicking and flipping and waving some arms and doing some dances the other day.
We went to the second ultrasound, and the nurse, doctor, whatever, I don't know what you call the ultrasound people, but she was trying to make the baby move, and I didn't realize that they moved this early on, because it was still like sitting there with its little hands on its face, and I'm thinking, okay, it's still growing, it's still developing, and then when she told you to cough twice, and you coughed the second time, it started like kicking its legs and stretching and moving its little arms around. And I'm watching this little thing like, holy shit, man, that thing is moving. That's inside you.
It is. It's an alien. Your sister keeps referring to what's going on in me as the moment when the alien springs from the person's body. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I don't want to think about that.
It was really weird just to see that. And she kept trying to take like photos of it to try to get its reading on its face. And it kept churning over and against and away from the little camera thing, the ultrasound device. And at one point, I almost wanted to be like, you're fucking stressing it out. Like, quit trying to make it move a certain way. Like, just let it go back to sleep. We woke it up. Kelli, you can't cough anymore. You coughed. You woke it up.
Just never again.
Never again. I don't want you risking stressing the baby out.
The baby will be fine.
It's not going to be fine. It needs rest in there.
Okay, it has 6 more months of rest.
It is my child, and I need rest. Hence, my baby needs rest.
What about your wife? Your wife needs rest.
Yes, doubly rest. So you should stop. Don't cough anymore. You are done coughing until that baby is born. Then you can cough all you want then. I don't want you waking this thing up.
You do realize that once the baby can hear you, your voice is going to make it move more than anything else.
You can cough when it's moving. How about that? When you can actually feel it moving.
Oh, that's creepy.
Then you can cough all you want.
It is like that alien. Ugh.
Unless that makes your organs squish it a little, then no, you shouldn't cough. Just to be safe, don't cough.
My organs aren't going to squish it. The baby is fine. The nurse would not make the baby do anything. She had to measure its nose. Its nose that looks like your nose already.
Damn right it does.
Little 12-week-old baby already got your nose.
I love my nose. One of my Facebook friends says, well, now the challenge is, will the baby be greater than Danimal? I'm like, I don't know. I'm 100% me. The baby's only 50% me.
Yeah, but it's 50% me.
Correct.
Are you saying that I'm not great?
You're great, but...
You're great, but...
There are...
things not to say to your wife.
There are things that I'm better at than you are.
Okay, but who's better at, like, calling things?
Okay, it'll be better at that than I am.
All right, there we go.
It'll be a better cook.
Yeah.
Actually, we should cook something, like, at the same time. Cook the same dish, just to see who's the better cook, out of curiosity.
I would win that one.
It could be a MasterChef challenge.
I have to teach you how to turn on the stove. So.
I'll choose. We'll make ramen omelets.
Okay, no, now you would win that one.
Well, it's got to be something I know how to make.
That's no contest. No, why does it have to be something you know how to make? How about we both make something neither of us know how to make?
Okay.
I would still win.
I don't know.
And I'm not teaching you how to turn on the stove.
I would just watch you. It'll be like in MasterChef where I'll just be like, can I borrow the flour? I forgot flour.
You get to make it first. I'll make it second.
Yesterday we saw that Louis C.K. special, which fucking funny. And you all should watch it if you have Netflix. They've been putting all these comedians on the contract to have exclusivity to Netflix, at least for the special, during a certain period of time. And check out the Louis special. I love Louis C.K. He is my favorite comedian of all time. This wasn't his best special yet. I wasn't crying laughing. He's had better ones, but it was still very funny. Do check that out. That's something else we ended up watching this week.
You have to see his Matthew McConaughey impersonation.
It's better than Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, it was.
He is a better Matthew McConaughey than Matthew is. And Matthew's won an Oscar.
Yeah.
So what's that tell you about Louis?
Louis should win 2 Oscars.
Greatest,
that's what it tells me.
Greatest Mexican actor ever?
Yes.
I mean, he's acting out Matthew McConaughey and he's doing it better.
It's the greatest Matthew McConaughey acting Mexican actor ever.
Perfect. Make that an Oscar
Put that
category.
On his Oscar.
If not, it'll be at least a Broscar category.
There you go.
So this week we had some hashtag games go out and a lot of responses. This one was a real winner to a lot of you. And one that I'm like, all right, I know a lot of those cartoons. I fucking agree. You had a good childhood. So let's start off with your hashtag, my childhood shows. But first, the theme song.
So my childhood shows were Barney, Arthur, The Mini Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Gullah Gullah Island, and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Man, I forgot the Magic School Bus. The Magic School Bus is on that list, too.
We'll pretend you put it on there, because Twitter can only handle so many characters.
Oh, then I could go on forever.
I like Gullah Gullah Island. I always thought the little girl, I know this is weird, and I don't think I've ever told anyone, but the one little girl looked exactly like a female Charles Barkley.
That makes no sense.
I'm going to show you a picture of Charles Barkley.
All right.
I'm going to show you the picture of this little girl.
All
and
right.
I thought they looked exactly the same. Now, I haven't seen the show since I was a kid, so maybe that's just my little kid mind making a weird comparison.
Probably.
But for some reason, I thought it looked exactly like Charles Barkley. And I'm going to show you, and I know someone else is going to be looking it up soon.
The things I remember most from that show were the tadpole. I don't even remember his name. But he was a giant-ass tadpole, and nobody questioned it. They were just like, oh, there he goes.
That always pissed me off because it didn't look like a tadpole.
No.
It didn't look like a fucking tadpole. I'm like, you have fucking arms. You have legs.
It's almost a frog tadpole. And the other thing I remember from it was when they reenacted Goldilocks and the Three Bears, but they made it Brownie Locks because
minorities.
Looking back now, I'm like, that was really racist.
Was it though?
It's a little bit.
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, I really loved watching that.
I actually had a friend in high school, for most of my school, where Mr. Rogers was a family friend. Like, she's got old pictures with him and stuff. And so I'd always ask her, are the rumors true that he has tattoos? And she's like, no, we went swimming. He's fine.
And also Arthur, that was another after-school one that I guess ran for many years after we stopped watching it. Is that still going, or did it finally end?
I don't know. That's a great question.
My response to my childhood shows was Family Matters.
Okay.
I did. I watched that as a kid. TMNT. Batman the Animated Series.
Of course.
Still watch that to this day. I'm going to show my child that as well. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, so we relate on there. The Wonder Years. Love The Wonder Years. It's on Netflix too. The Simpsons. And, of course, Sábado Gigante. Sábado Gigante was a game show on... It was either Telemundo or... Univision. I can't recall which one it was on. Might have been Telemundo, but it was just a game show where they have all kinds of shit. Like they've got like the little call-in one. They had to spin the wheel, and I don't know. As a kid, like you didn't really have as many game shows as I guess you do today. I don't know, but those were always fun for me to watch, and my dad would always watch it. So at night we would watch Sábado Gigante. I couldn't just. There was only one television, you know, you couldn't, it's not like now where it's like, well, I'll just watch it on my fucking phone or on these other televisions in my household.
Yeah, you remember when we only had one television?
One television.
Oh
it was
my God.
the television, the TV.
That was it. And it was in the living room and it was real small. Oh, shit. I remember
had
that.
3 channels.
Yeah. Yep. You had to like adjust the antennas and shit.
Yeah, my dad was awesome at that. He knew how to adjust that shit so well to the point where he rarely had to do it. Like, he just put it on perfectly, and he knew which channels we were watching. And again, it was only, like, 2 out of the 3 that we were watching. And it was just fine. Sometimes he used duct tape to keep it where it needed to be. And then I got better at it, and I ended up moving antennas. That's something that you don't have to worry about anymore.
Oh, yeah.
So, very, very lucky. But, yeah, those were my childhood shows.
Things our child will never know about. One TV? What was that? No internet?
We had some responses here from Broquettes. First one is from NMats68 on Twitter, who said Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Power Rangers.
Go, go, Power Rangers.
Rugrats.
Rugrats was great.
Klasky Zupo.
What?
You don't remember that?
No.
Right at the end, the very last title thing.
Oh, I always thought he went,
He says Klasky Zupo. Because those were the 2 people that produced the show.
No, I'm pretty sure he went,
Hey Arnold and Doug.
I watched all of those too, except for... No, I watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I did not watch that as a child. That was a boys' show.
You aren't missing anything.
All right, good.
Go back and watch TMNT. It is not good. But that's a good list. I definitely grew up on a lot of those, too.
We have another one from Twitter. This comes from @Curbside1986, who says, SWAT Cats, Hysteria, Dexter's Lab, all that. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? I used to watch that too. WOE?
I don't know. It might have been a typo, but...
Okay. Freakazoid. I watched that one too.
That was a little bit after my time.
Critic, Angry Beavers, and Real Monsters.
I could never get into Real Monsters. I don't know why.
I didn't either. I played the video game, but no, I never got into watching the show. Definitely watched me some Dexter's Lab. Definitely watched all that.
Angry Beavers I really loved.
Eh.
Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego never came on at a good time for me as a kid. I caught it maybe 3 times. And now we have the, who's the Agent Carter?
Yeah.
Pop. And it looks exactly like Carmen Sandiego. So I troll my coworkers all the time. I'm like, hey, Carmen Sandiego.
I used to watch, because after Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, there was Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego. Do you remember that?
What is that? Is that like a sequel thing?
Man,
or?
I feel like it was a game show with kids where you had to play it and figure out all these things. I don't know. I only remember the theme song where it went, Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego. That's all I remember.
She was a criminal, right?
Yeah.
And they were always trying to catch her?
And it was always like, stop her crime and solve this mystery. Does anybody remember that? Did I dream that?
I don't think you did.
I might have.
I'm sure that's a thing.
The last one we have comes from @SomewhatCreative, who says TMNT, Captain in the Game Master, Batman the Animated Series, X-Men, Ren and Stimpy, Doug, Are You Afraid of the Dark, DuckTales, and Rocko's Modern Life. Boys shows, boring.
Not Batman the Animated Series. That's an everybody show. That is an everybody show.
Okay, fine, but everything else is boys shows, and that's boring.
Not Are You Afraid of the Dark?
It's boys shows. I never watched it. I was watching Sailor Moon.
Are You Afraid of the Dark was like the Diet Goosebumps. But some of the episodes were written better, because, I mean, it's R.L. Stine. He's on the Goosebumps side, so I really liked Are You Afraid of the Dark? The Pink Ranger actually made an appearance in one of the episodes. She plays the ghost girl that died in a car crash, but she was trying to get to the prom or the dance.
Should have been the Yellow Ranger.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ. That was terrible.
I'm just saying.
But hilarious.
It's so hilarious.
Rocko's Modern Life needs to come out on Blu-ray. I know it's out on DVD. They need to clean that shit up and bring it out on Blu-ray.
Get rid of all the adult jokes.
Keep them all. Keep the Choky Chicken. Keep the hourly motel that they threw in there. All of it needs to stay. The sex hotline that Rocko worked in.
What happened to decent shows like Digimon and Pokemon, Sailor Moon?
Look, the 90s are on no one's barometer as quality
Dragon
television.
Ball Z.
These were not award-winning writing, except for Batman the Animated Series. I mean, these were just entertainment at no expense.
And you know what? They're better than the shit we got now, so...
Not necessarily, no. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles today is way better.
Okay, fine.
Adventure Time is a better written show than a lot of the ones on this list. People love Steven Universe. I haven't watched it, but it's real progressive. But I haven't seen it, so I don't know. And, I mean, there's some good shit out right now. There's some good stuff back then, too, but... let's not pretend that the things we grew up with are somehow better than everything else around it, because that's simply not the case.
Yes, it is.
So we do want to thank all of you for responding to our hashtag game this week. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter @ReasonsImBroke or on Facebook.com/TheReasonsImBroke to include your hashtag responses to the games that we put up every single week. And if you do respond, we may feature it right here on the podcast.
So we mentioned at the beginning of the show a great new app called Cosmunity.
Yeah, huge thanks to Neil for pointing out the app over to us. And it is essentially an amalgam of Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and I don't know if there's an event app. Maybe I'm unaware of one, but essentially all of those merge together if you're into cosplayers or if you're into conventions. So you make an account and you can share photos just the same as you can on Instagram, put in whatever hashtags you'd like. But when you go to the events, and this is primarily what it's built around, you can say, hey, I'm going to attend C2E2 this month, so let me subscribe to the event. And when you do, it'll show you who else subscribed to that event and who else is going. So you now have a community of just that convention right there on the app. And you can talk to people about the guests that are appearing. Maybe some of the guests themselves are going to have a booth there, and then you can talk to them from the app. And if not, if you ever missed out on some kind of local convention, you can actually search for events from your area with the search feature on events. So you can say, holy shit, there's a convention coming up this weekend and I didn't even know that existed. I can attend it. Awesome. Where is it? It'll give you the address. It'll give you the dates. It'll give you the times. That's what the Cosmunity app is. And again, it is built around the major guests of cosplayers. So if you have your favorite cosplayer, chances are they are featured on Cosmology. So definitely check it out. It is available on iTunes and Android. It is currently in its beta stage, so it's only going to get better and better as we move forward. And if you already post pictures on Instagram and you know it saves a copy on your phone, take that same photo and share it on Cosmunity. Add the same exact hashtags, copy and paste it, post it on there because there is a whole community on there that's growing every single day.
This is a brilliant idea, especially because we love conventions so much and there's so many conventions out there that you don't even know exist. So this is a great way to get in touch with that. I think I'm going to start cosplaying just so that I can post some pictures.
Be a part of the Cosmunity, Kelly.
I'm going to do some discount Aquaman for you.
And you can be Mara.
Yeah, I have to find a discount Mara costume. It's going to have to be Prego Mara. Like, oops, sorry guys.
So once again, that's Cosmunity, available on iOS and Android.
Now we're going to move on into our weekly news. We have tons for both comics and movies. Starting out with some Marvel. They're just being silly. Why are they being silly?
There's a lot of bad and some good, but I don't know what the fuck they did this week. Like, everything imploded on their PR end.
So Marvel is continuing its overshipping of comic books by matching retailers who order 90% of their orders of Iceman #1, Black Bolt #1, and Cable #1 with their #2 issues free of cost.
Retailers still have to pay for extra weight in shipping. 90% of their orders for these books, I mean, you're going to be stuck with a shit ton of copies of this just to try to get a couple of free issues that you may or may not sell.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at that list of them, Black Bolt, Iceman, maybe Cable is going to be the best from that set of 3, but you are really gambling, and this is the kind of shit that puts comic shops that are struggling right out of business. You don't take a gamble on that kind of nonsense.
So food for thought reaction we have is, quote, so to get 10% free copies, they have to over-order 40% than needed. Now I can see why so many comic shops go under and turn to Kickstarter to get people to bail them out, end quote.
And you see that over and over again, where a lot of shops are going to Kickstarter or Indiegogo to try to get a boost as they move to a different location or as they reopen. And it's unfortunate because Marvel really isn't helping anyone by sending the extra books. The best case scenario is you're selling out and then you're finding your ceiling and then ordering accordingly otherwise. But it is just padding Marvel's numbers so that someone way up high can look better to the person one step above him.
Essentially, and that really is the best way to put it. They're just trying to get these comics. Look how much we shipped. Look at all this, guys. Look what we shipped. And you're not doing anybody else any good.
In their minds, shipped equals sold. Because, yeah, granted, they got paid for them, but the ones they're giving away for free, the one that's way up at the top doesn't know that or doesn't care, doesn't realize, just wants that number of, we shipped how many thousands of that? Okay, great. Things are awesome. Numbers are steady. But anything they need to do, I guess, to keep their job, to keep heads from rolling, and it's only going to last so long because comic shops should be growing wise to this kind of tactic. Make your issues returnable, Marvel. If you really want to help out the retailer, make your issues returnable. Order as many as you'd like of Iceman #1. Whatever you don't sell, send it right back to us, and we'll give you a credit for future issues. That's what DC Comics did. That's what a lot of indie publishers are starting to do. Boom Studios did that for the first 3 issues of certain runs, and that is what actually helps the retailer. That is actually what's getting you the max numbers on what you can sell. In turn, that also helps the publisher because now they're selling, okay, now we know we can sell 58 copies of Adventure Time Comics #4 as opposed to if we had just ordered 20 conservatively, we never would have known that we can actually sell much more otherwise.
Well, the thing that Marvel is not realizing either, or whoever is making these decisions to ship so many, is at some point their boss or their boss's boss is going to realize, oh, we're giving these away for free. Oh, we're now losing money because comic shops aren't appreciative of what we're doing. Yep, you're still fired. Because they're doing the wrong thing. And that's what it boils down to. They're not doing what they're supposed to, and they're trying to pad numbers to make it look better. And it's not going to work in the end, and it's going to come back to bite them in the ass.
But let's not focus on just the negative, Kelly. They did one good thing here.
One good thing.
Before we get to the shitstorm.
They did one good thing because it came back to bite them in the ass.
Yeah, much quicker than they expected.
Yes.
But I'm actually on their side for this one, based on what they said, and I'll explain why. So after the backlash from readers over the change in Marvel's digital code redemptions, the company will be reverting its digital companion program starting on May 3rd.
We have a quote here from Marvel's Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing, David Gabriel, who says, quote, "We heard the message loud and clear on digital same-issue codes. We heard how folks across the world were using them, relying on them, loving them. We are always looking to do what's best for fans and for the comic industry, so we're pleased to make this program even better. Now, print comic readers will receive a code for the issue they purchased and also an additional bonus comic, giving customers even more value for their purchase." End quote.
And that's what we were saying they should have done from the beginning. If you're trying to promote an additional book or an extra copy or an extra trade that's coming out, you do it in addition to whatever you're redeeming. Then when someone's saying, okay, I'm going to redeem my issue of Spider-Man #16. Oh, cool. So there's an extra book here for the first issue from Captain Marvel. Maybe I'll check it out. If it's there as a side, as a bonus, people are more willing to check it out than if you take away what they were redeeming it for initially and instead replacing it with 3 others.
That's exactly right. I would be real cranky. I'd be like, well, now I'm not going to read your shit because you took away my other shit.
And you know what was happening? Before we broke this story, they said if you contact us through Marvel.com or you give us a call, we will send you codes for whatever books you bought. And I was about to be like, no, that's not what you fucking do. But instead they said, and we're bringing back. So between now and May, just call us if you want those codes for what you're buying. We'll give it to you.
Marvel, I bought every book that you're releasing, and I need the code.
You actually had to send them a copy of your receipt, too.
Damn it.
They're not stupid.
Damn it.
Disney's their parent company.
I would have been collecting people's receipts outside the comic store, like, oh, would you, yeah, I need that. Thanks.
Just dig through the garbage can outside your local comic shop. But they are reverting. They are giving readers a bonus as well, kind of like an I'm sorry. But I did see the exact same VP say that we didn't hear one way or another of people actually liking these or not. That's why we're like, well, let's change them because no one seems to really be talking about the codes. So let's try to freshen it up and do something new. And that's when everyone that was using the codes went, hold on a second, what the fuck is happening? And they said, oh shit, people are actually liking these. Never mind, let's go back and give them a bonus because that's the only way we're going to just make it okay for everyone.
Well, they did something right. Good job, Marvel.
Gotta give credit where credit is due. Now, my favorite part with, because this is just PR 101, which is something you almost went into.
Yeah.
So last weekend, the exact same David Gabriel, who is once again Marvel's Senior Vice President of Sales, Print, and Marketing, blamed poor sales on consumers, quote, churning up their noses, end quote, at any title not featuring a core Marvel character.
In an interview with ICV2, he continued by saying, quote, what we heard was that people didn't want any more diversity. They didn't want female characters out there. That's what we heard, whether we believe that or not. I don't know that that's really true, but that's what we saw in sales, end quote.
He also went on to say that artists don't, quote, move the needle, end quote, anymore like they did in the 90s. Because we don't have a Wizard magazine where they feature an artist on the cover. This is the book that they're going to come out in and buy their comic releasing, 2-3 months from now. And that made artists feel shitty, like, you're saying we don't move the needle anymore, we're working for you. And instead, Jim Lee actually took that opportunity and took a selfie with some of the DC people and said, yeah, just me with some guys who move the needle. It was all intended to be for retailers only because he met with a bunch of retailers from throughout the country. And he said what we quoted here, and it's not meant to be a public statement, but you still got to be careful with what you say at these things. And unfortunately, it came back, it bit him in the ass, and a lot of the younger readers that are relying or that are buying Spider-Man Miles Morales or Ms. Marvel came back and said they're going to now take away the characters that we love, and they're going to just focus on the core characters. I'm going to agree with David here in a sense because he is right that whenever people demand that there is a new character or a certain representation in comics, when they do give you that character, most of the time they don't buy the comic with it. And that's why the argument goes, instead of making, say, a Hispanic Spider-Man, why don't you make a new superhero under a different name? And that's why I'm always against that, because I'm like, no, because that shit doesn't sell. That's why you have Miles Morales Ultimate Spider-Man. It's under the Spider-Man title. It's a different character, and look at him now. Same thing with Ms. Marvel. Same thing with Thor. Excellent book, too. But if you had named it She-Thor or something else, probably wouldn't have sold as well.
Lady Thor.
Lady Thor, right. And
Thorina.
people still call it that. They say, like, Lady Thor, female Thor. And it's, well, it's Thor. But Thor. Fine. So that's why that stuff doesn't work, and that's why you sometimes have to, put in a different or a portion of the title of a bigger character in with the new character. For example, Blue Beetle is another one, although Blue Beetle can't really hold his own book. That's one of those things, too, where it's like, okay, you gotta cut it.
Does he still make English, Spanish? Does he flip between the two?
I'm sure he does. I have not been reading it. And I'm Mexican and I haven't been reading it.
That tells you something right there. You should write it. What would happen in this book if you wrote it?
He definitely wouldn't be speaking Spanglish. That's not something that appeals to me, at least. So no, he would not be doing that. It would just be a Mexican-American. Make him speak like a normal Mexican-American guy, and I'll say Univision or Telemundo, but I don't say, I don't mix up my English and my Spanish when I'm talking on the podcast or even when I'm talking with people.
You do when you sleep.
Do I really?
Yes. You have spoken to me in Spanish And I remember once, okay, rabbit trail, I gotta tell this story. So you wake me up like you're hitting me in the middle of the night. I'm like, what's going on? And you just went off on something in Spanish. And I'm like, what are you saying? I can't understand you. And then you said it again, but you were real angry this time.
I was frustrated probably because you couldn't understand me.
And I was like, I can't, you're speaking Spanish. I don't know what you're saying. And then you just rolled over and went back to bed. And that was the end of it.
That's usually when I realize, oh, right, I'm just dreaming, but I'm awake, so I'm just going to go back to sleep.
Several times you've woken me up and just said nonsense. Just nonsense. And I don't understand you. What do you need? And you're just like, forget it. And then you go back to sleep.
How dare you not understand my nonsense? My blabbles.
The first time I felt really bad, and I'm just like, all right, whatever. I'm going back to bed.
So we've got more from this little story, though.
Due to reactions to David's interview, he has since offered an additional statement. This guy should just shut up.
No, this is them like, this is what you're going to fucking say.
Oh, okay.
And you're not going to say anything outside the script.
These are the only words that you can say.
There's like a red dot around his head, like, if it's shaped in Mickey ears.
Stop. Hidden Mickey, we found it.
So the quote here reads, the new statement, the PR statement, and let me know if this fixes it, Kelly, from a PR standpoint. It says, quote, the sticking factor in popularity for a majority of these new titles and characters, like Squirrel Girl, Ms. Marvel, The Mighty Thor, Spider-Gwen, Miles Morales, and Moon Girl, continue to prove that our fans and retailers are excited about those new heroes. And let me be clear, our new heroes are not going anywhere, end quote.
Yeah, that was good. but the characters you love aren't going anywhere. Nope, they're still here.
The ones that are selling the best are going to stick around, and that's the way it should be. It's
like locker room talk when the guys are all sitting around. They're like, yeah, these crazy broads. Oh, no, women are very nice. Women are value to our community.
I guess you fixed it, right? I mean, people are still going to be angry. So in response to this, Marvel will also be pushing a marketing initiative to feature its classic characters with the tagline return of, quote, Make Mine Marvel. We haven't heard that in years. Make Mine Marvel is the perfect representation of what these core characters are about and what the older readers are looking for in their comics. They are, much like when DCU happened, they are being pushed aside for a marketing initiative that was aiming at younger readers. And that, as we know now, is not the market you need to sustain your publishing company.
So Make Mine Marvel used to be a thing?
Yes. And that's why DC fans joke and say, make mine DC.
Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing.
It's an old school thing, yes.
Because it reminded me of, what was that, the Disney short, Make Music Mine, Make Mine Music, something like that?
It was before all that.
Oh, okay. That's what it reminds me of. So the company has also stated that it has no major crossover events scheduled for after Secret Empire. We're on Secret Empire? When did that happen? I thought we were still on Civil War.
Civil War 2 just ended, and now we had the clone conspiracy on the Spider-Man side, and now we're going to get into Secret Empire, and that's when even fans are still saying another fucking event, and then after that, Generations, and they said Secret Empire hasn't even started yet, and we're already talking about the next event, which is Generations, and because of that, and retailers have been telling Marvel less events, because if you have them back-to-back, they become less special. And even if you have, this character dies this event, now that's happening every single time, and people don't care anymore. So do it much less often. For DC, it was Justice League versus Suicide Squad, and now we're going to get the Batman Dark Days and the Button. Although I don't know if the Button counts as a major event since it's 2 books and not its own standalone thing.
The Button, is that the Button?
The Watchmen Button, yes.
Oh man, DC can do all the events at once.
But they're doing them a lot less often, and they have been doing them less often than Marvel. And that's why stuff like Forever Evil feels a lot bigger when you're buying that than if, like, okay, a new Civil War, and now there's Secret Empire. But because of that, yes, Marvel's going in the right direction, and they are cutting down on the major events. The smaller crossovers like Venomverse will still show up here and there, but those aren't considered line-wide events where all of the characters in the Marvel Universe are going to be affected by Venomverse.
We know one DC character will be affected. Batman.
Batman undercover as Venom.
He's got to swoop in there and save the day. You know what? He won't even be, like, taken over by Venom. It'll be Clayface. He'll be in a Clayface suit.
Oh my god, that'd be amazing.
To be Venom.
And Batman injects him with a serum something rather that makes him in that dark color so that Clayface can be that venomy black-blue liquid thing. And that'll trick everyone. Yes, Clayface and Batman. Good job, Clayface. Fucking coming through for the Bat team.
Good job,
Good
Kelli.
job, Kelli, for coming up with that shit. You should write Detective Comics.
It would just be love stories with Batman and Catwoman. And Vegeta and Bulma. I'd throw them in there.
You've got potential, though. You came up with this Clayface idea. Clayface Venom.
See, because that would never happen. I give ideas. I can't. I'm too scatterbrained. There's too many things that I want to do. I can't put them together.
If you see Clayface changing colors in future Detective Comics issue, remember where that came from.
Yeah, right here.
I don't care that he can shapeshift already.
Right here on The Reasons I'm Broke.
Heard it first.
If Batman is ever in a Clayface suit where he's all dark, right here.
So we've got some bad news to the digital market out there. Saga number 43, huge title, one of the biggest from Image Comics, will not be 25 cents digitally through Amazon's Comixology app, unlike retailers who will be celebrating Image Comics' 25th anniversary with 25-cent physical copies of the comic book.
That's fine. If you're buying Saga, you need to buy the actual copy anyway, because that shit's gonna be worth money.
Maybe not.
How much is number one worth right now?
Last time we had it, I want to say $119.
Yeah, bitches.
But I think Brian K. Vaughan's already said that he will never adapt this into a movie or a TV show.
Until they put enough zeros on that paycheck.
Then he'll do that shit.
Yeah.
I will tell you that the readership for Saga is slowing down.
No.
I don't know if it's because of what's happening right now. I don't know if there's a plot thing.
It's taken a long time to come out.
Do you think that maybe the pauses are hindering the book, which before it wasn't an issue, but now I guess it is? Are you less excited for Saga this far in?
It's still my favorite book. I still really, really want to read it, but I feel like it's taking so long to get the book. It's taken me forever. We've been on this ride for a long time, and I'm just ready to have it regularly instead of the 6-month pauses.
Summary of this is, if you are buying Saga number 43, get it at your local comic shop, support your local shops, and you save money, 25 fucking cents, as opposed to the $3.99 on Comixology.
Could they turn this into a movie? It'd have to be rated R. It'd have to be rated NC-17.
It'd be tough because there's a lot of story to tell with this one.
And there's a lot of sex and nudity and lizards licking
Lizard
themselves.
penises, yeah. Crazy comic. All right, so now we've got the DC side. Lots of good stuff coming right here. And the latest DC animated movie, Batman and Harley Quinn, has cast The Big Bang Theory's Melissa Rauch as Harley.
This feature will also reunite Bruce Timm, who was the co-creator of Batman the Animated Series, Kevin Conroy, who is the only Batman that has ever existed or will ever exist, and Lauren Lester as Robin.
He has like a weird black and blue suit in this. I don't know why.
Okay.
I don't know what happened to Robin's red, yellow, and green.
Yeah, that's weird.
Might have been it's in the wash, I guess, and this is just like a backup suit. I'm not too sure.
Maybe he washed it with Batman's clothes and it just got all dark because
the color
bled. Yeah.
He tried to wash it himself as opposed to making Alfred.
Having Alfred
would do it 100% correct.
Maybe Alfred got pissed off at him and he's like, wash your fucking clothes yourself. Master Grayson.
So no Arlene Sorkin, Kelly. We've got Bruce Timm coming back. Mm-hmm. We've got Kevin Conroy, Lauren Lester. This is the closest we're ever going to get to a Batman the Animated Series brand new season in modern day. And I couldn't be happier. But Arlene Sorkin, god damn it. I know she retired the role, but that would have been like, yes, just give me Arlene. Perfect Harley Quinn.
I will say, at least we're not getting, what's her name?
Fucking Tara Strong?
Yeah, at least we're not getting Tara Strong because she can't. So I'll give this lady a chance.
The promotional sneak peek that I'm sure you've seen already has Robin, Batman, and Harley Quinn in the Batmobile. They're having snacks, they're having burgers and fries. But it is in the animation style, similar to the final season of Batman the Animated Series. So for all intents and purposes, this is a continuation of the animated series as far as I'm concerned.
Hopefully. How did Batman order those fries? Was he like, large fries? No.
In Justice League Unlimited, he did order coffee. Might have been just Justice League, but remember, he walked right in, coffee, black. And he just had exact change that he busted out from his fucking bat belt. That was incredible. Yeah, he can order fucking burgers. That was awesome. So this is going to be a day one purchase for
Oh,
Kelli
for
and I.
sure.
It comes out summer 2017 on both Blu-ray and DVD. And if sales are awesome on this, I want to see another animated. Make this like the animated collection. Make this the 2010s animated collection of Batman the Animated Series. Call it whatever you want. Get more installments from this.
And then they can come out with like a super mega collection that has all Batman the Animated Series on Blu-ray and then all these movies on Blu-ray.
Yes.
Sell it for like $300, we'd buy it.
There's no way this is not like a test point of okay,
course it is.
The fucking toys are selling. All the merchandise is selling. All the fucking iPhone cases that we sell on the DCWB shop are selling from Batman the Animated Series. The t-shirts that we brought back out in celebration of the anniversary of Batman the Animated Series, all that shit is selling. People still buy the projects like Kevin Conroy comes back, and they celebrate the fact that Batman himself is voicing these characters again. Mark Hamill, the Arkham games, that is really, I think, what helped bring Batman the Animated Series again back into the light. The fact that they said Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy, the voices of Batman and Joker from Batman the Animated Series, are going to be voicing the same characters in Arkham Asylum. Do you know how many people came in when I worked at GameStop? And I talked them up with Arkham Asylum, and the original voice actors are coming back, and they're like, what is that? Explain to them about Batman the Animated Series. They're like, holy shit, I remember that cartoon. I didn't know that was them. Let me pre-order it. All of that is like you can look back on the history of this and go to all the pinpoints. Batman Beyond, the Darwin Cook project that he did in the little 2-minute short to celebrate Batman 75. That was another one that was like, this is another installment of Batman Beyond now. And if this sells incredibly well, do tell me, Warner Brothers, tell me, Bruce Timm, that you will do more of these things. Lauren Lester, Kevin Conroy, and I'm sure inevitably there will be a Mark Hamill appearance in these, especially if you have Harley Quinn here.
Hamill's never really going to retire. Calm down.
What do you think? I'm fucking super excited for this. I'm excited. Make merchandise on this shit and I will buy it too.
Of course. No, I think it's brilliant that they're doing this because now all the kids who grew up with that show are adults who have money to spend on the things their parents wouldn't buy them. And they're all having kids. How much of this stuff are we going to purchase for our child? Let's be realistic.
All of the things.
All of it.
And if they don't like it, I'm like, okay, well, that's mine now.
That's mine. It's not for you. It's mine. But exactly. And they've just found the perfect place, the perfect time to bring all this stuff back into the market. And yes, we're excited for it. We're eating it up. We're like, cartoons. And it's great. Great for them because they're making money and they're happy, and great for us because we're getting more of this stuff.
Hopefully they'll make money on this. Once again, this is titled Batman and Harley Quinn, Summer 2017.
It's got Harley Quinn in the title. Please, let's make money.
That's how you title that shit. Batman, Harley Quinn. Done. Continuing on the DC side, this time on the live action portion, Avengers director Joe Whedon is in talks with Warner Brothers to direct, write, and produce a solo live action Batgirl film, according to Variety.
Oh.
This is the first time I am not excited for one of the projects in the DCEU. And it hurts me to say this, but I am like, oh, I hope it's good. Fuck. Jeez, I hope it's decent. I hope it's just decent even.
So negotiations began back in February with DC Films co-heads John Berg and Jeff Johns and Warner Brothers Pictures president Toby Emmerich.
And let's make this clear. We're not disappointed by the fact that Batgirl's getting her own solo film.
No, that's great.
That's amazing. We're disappointed by the fact that Joey Whedon is going to be directing, writing, and producing this shit. Yes, his name is Joey Joseph. Not Joss. His legal name is Joseph Whedon. So I'm going to call him Joey Whedon because I've seen one project from this man that I've enjoyed. And that was the Dr. Horrible sing-along blog. And that was it. The Avengers and the Avengers Age of Ultron, I can throw Iron Man in there, are my least 3 favorite from the Marvel films. So I do not want to see this man anywhere near my superhero films that I actually might care about.
It could always change. Things are changing very quickly. And
he is a touchy guy, so
Good.
We can expect him to abruptly leave angrily because he has done this in the past, and we'll talk about that in a second. But Entertainment Weekly have reported that this will use Batgirl's New 52 origins as a jumping off point. This will serve as Barbara Gordon recovering from the Joker's attacks as portrayed in The Killing Joke, and ultimately succeeding as Batgirl as written in Gail Simone's run.
And that was a fantastic run. Can we just get Gail to write this movie?
You know how excited she fucking is about this?
Oh, I'm sure.
She is over the moon, and she's like, you guys know as much as I do. It's not like I knew about this beforehand, and I'm very excited to see what that might mean for my career. And I'm like, fuck yeah, consult Gail Simone if you can, and ask her about her run on the New 52, and film that in the movies, and you are all set. Joss, don't go fucking crazy. Don't do the shit you did in Avengers or Avengers 2. Let's act conservative here.
I'm waiting, and I really hope they consult her, but I'm waiting for them not to consult her so she can bitch about it on Twitter.
Oh, and she will.
Oh, she will.
She will.
Everyone will know. We love us some Gale. So some fun facts. The Oracle Network was previously displayed on Batman's computer as an Easter egg in 2016's Batman v Superman. So they already kind of gave us a hint that this was on its way.
Many have also taken Gotham City Sirens director David Ayer's Black Mass tweet as an additional clue, since the villain has previously been involved with both Nightwing and Batgirl in the history of the comics.
He's been involved with them? Like...
a mutual villain between the two. Well, maybe there might have been a threesome.
Weird. Ew, no.
He likes that Nightwing ass.
No. We all like that Nightwing ass.
Will Nightwing appear in the solo Batgirl film?
Probably.
Even though he was not in Gail Simone's run?
Mm-hmm.
I think so too. If they're trying to tie these movies in together, we're going to see Nightwing, and we're definitely going to see Batman.
There's going to be, I think, if we see Nightwing in this movie, there's got to be a little scene where he comes and she's like, we're not like that anymore, Nightwing. And he's like, oh, but this other thing. And she's like, no, we can't. And then he's going to leave.
A lot of the Teen Titans fans are demanding that Starfire be put in this.
Yes.
She's not going to be in this.
No. I want Starfire and Nightwing.
She's not even going to be in the Nightwing movie.
Why?
Because they haven't even announced anything Teen Titans. People just want their preferred shipping relationships.
Well, that's an OTP with them.
They want their preferred OTPs on screen, regardless of what plan they have in place. They just want to see it happen, and that's not the way this shit works.
That's how it needs to work.
It's never going to work like that.
But that's how it needs to work.
It doesn't need to work that way.
Can we have a nod to Starfire somewhere in Robin's apartment? Like maybe her clothes thrown over a chair or something?
A picture of them together. I don't care. Fine.
Okay.
Just something to keep them at bay.
To keep us from going fucking crazy.
Joseph Whedon previously quit Wonder Woman's cinematic adaptation back in 2006 after disagreements with the studio.
Whedon was also one of the many directors in consideration for Batman's reboot before the studio eventually went with Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins pitch in 2003. Whew, we dodged a bullet with that one.
Yes, Batman Begins was amazing.
Amazing.
So look at that. There's still a chance that they might get someone else. Someone other than Joey.
Well, yeah, because he's going to quit again. He's like the Guillermo of bad movies.
He totally is.
Guillermo's just like, I will do this movie, but now I will not do it. And then he leaves.
If all goes according to plan, directors are as follows, Kelly. Matt Reeves for The Batman.
Okay.
Matthew Vaughn for Man of Steel 2. Fuck yes.
Yes.
Chris McKay, another fuck yes for Nightwing. And Joss Whedon for Batgirl. It might change. It's all right.
It's going to change.
But even with this nerd fill, this should make everyone happy because for some reason he has a shit ton of fans. There's still this week's Nerd Rage Reaction!
The birds are running away. I had to include that this time. I gotta mix it up. Keep viewers on their toes.
Nerd Rage Reaction is a quote that we find on the internet that we find to be illogical, irrational, or funny in general. We're not going to give you the person's name. You're more than welcome to try to seek them out. But here is this person's Nerd Rage Reaction.
The description provided by EW applies equally to the Simone and Stewart versions of the character. Personally, I was hoping for something that would borrow from Batgirl Year One. End quote.
It does not at all refer to the Stewart version of Batgirl.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a Cameron Stewart when he redid the Batgirl costume, and then we had her move to Burnside, where she had that lighter tone to the series.
No, it's not at all like that. Calm down.
They outlined it very clearly here that it is about her overcoming her issues with the Joker after the Killing Joke, and this is right after she was Oracle already. So it is very clear that it is from Gail Simone's New 52 run. It doesn't mention anything about Burnside, doesn't mention anything about her taking selfies. Now, the costume may or may not be what it was from the Cameron Stewart, but the story itself is actually from Gail Simone's run.
Somebody just doesn't like women power. It needs to calm down. And strong female characters.
They just don't read the stories.
No.
That's all it comes down to.
Of course.
And I have seen a huge number of 20-something-year-olds say, what about Stephanie Brown? What about Cassandra Cain? Why aren't they using those Batgirls instead? They're not going to use they're going to use the most popular version of Batgirl out there. They're not going to go for Stephanie Brown. They're not going to go for Cassandra. I'm sorry. That is simply not going to happen.
Absolutely not. They're trying to make money with these things. They're not going to say, well, who is least known? Let's see if it'll work. No.
And I'm constantly seeing, because it is another one of, I think, Batgirl's anniversary. They're celebrating Batgirl through DC's channel on Twitter. And every time they put up an image of, like, Barbara Gordon, like, swinging through as Batgirl, they're saying, how about you stop ignoring the other Batgirls and give them some light as well? Well, one, fuck you, because they're getting plenty of light in the comics. And that's what I'm seeing a lot of people put out in the comments. You must not be reading Detective Comics, because there is a shit ton of Cassandra Cain action in those comics. And the whole story right now is all about her and the League of Shadows or Assassins. I think it was Shadows in the actual comics and focusing on her. So if you want your Batgirl shit, it is there. And what's happening? You're not fucking buying it. This is the exact issue that Marvel's running into. You listen to the vocal minority and you don't make sales. They're not even the vocal majority. If they're not going to buy your books, it all went to shit. And that's why you don't make a decision and go with a Cassandra Cain as opposed to fucking Barbara Gordon. She just appeared in the fucking Lego Batman movie. Yeah. What else do you want? Like, this is going to, what more information do you want, I should say, or evidence that they are going to go with the popular version of Batgirl? You put in Cassandra Cain or Stephanie and people are going to say, who? What is this? I thought she had red hair.
And beyond that, they're celebrating the anniversary of Batgirl, right? So essentially the anniversary of the creation of Barbara Gordon's character.
Right, not the other Batgirls.
Right. If you are celebrating, for me, the anniversary of Batman, I do not expect you to put Dick Grayson in a Batman costume and say, here's Batman, or Azrael, what the fuck, and say, oh, here's Batman. No, it is the creation of Batman. That's who it is. That's
really all it comes down to, and I'm sorry, they're gonna go with Barbara Gordon, as they should.
Just like when we get to the anniversary of Robin. I mean, they'll have Damian somewhere.
They better have Damian Wayne up there.
They should.
Why are you ignoring Damian Wayne?
I expect them just to put Dick Grayson, because that is now the anniversary of when his character was created. And when Damian Wayne reaches, that was a hard sentence for me, sorry. When Damian Wayne reaches however many years as Robin, then yes, let us celebrate that.
So there's all of our news this week, Brokettes. A variety of shit and good stuff from all of the companies. Let us know what you thought of the news stories this week. And you can head on over to TheReasonsImBroke.com for a link on everywhere you can find the show. Before we move on to our review, our comic book highlight of Harley's Little Black Book number 6, we've got this week's Patreon shoutouts of the week.
This week, our shoutouts go to Lourdes and Katie and Bobby, whose Twitter handle is @CubanSlim.
So I know Katie will be watching the Judas Contract animated movie on day one. Loves Deathstroke to death, and Deathstroke is getting a lot of love from DC in the comics, in the films, and the live-action film. So all of it, Deathstroke all over the place. She is a happy camper. And @CubanSlim definitely was one of the ones that made me feel guilty for not remembering who Fievel was from An American Tale. One of many people on Twitter, too. I was just like, I am never going to talk about An American Tale again. That actually also led to that April Fool's joke where I was like, from now on, we are just going to cover Marvel and Disney in an attempt to bring in the most listeners to the show. And most of them caught on, and they're like, okay, well, what do you think about the new Darth Maul movie? And I know Al also was like, yeah, what about Venom? He's super cool. So they all caught on to the joke, and we just kind of joked with each other back and forth. That was amazing. But huge thanks to all of our Patreon backers for constantly giving us fun on Twitter and on Facebook. And, of course, for supporting the show every single month.
If you, too, want to be a Patreon supporter and get your Patreon shout-out, You can just go to patreon.com/TheReasonsImBroke for as little as $1 a month, which comes out to 25 cents an episode. That doesn't include all the extra stuff that Daniel does every week on YouTube as well.
Mm-hmm.
You too can get your Patreon shout out.
And for less than the price of a Marvel comic, I'm going to exaggerate this, you can get your decals every single 3 months. So for less than a comic book, you can get your custom decal as provided by, once again, huge thanks to decalavenue.com. And the Brokeheads, the Patreon backers, actually vote on what that design should be for the next round. That's all at patreon.com/TheReasonsImBroke.
When are you going to let me pick the design?
Well, for as little as $5 a month, Kelly, you too can be one of the votes on patreon.com/TheReasonsImBroke.
We won't even get into the amount of money that I spend to support this podcast. I provide you with this studio.
Yeah, I do like our closet, yes.
Okay.
I do like that the clothes serve as an audio, I don't know what you call that, like
buffer.
Yes,
or
audio buffer.
I mean, we can put eggshells, or was it egg cartons on the walls?
Egg cartons?
We can do that.
That's the trick.
Yeah.
Can we nail them to the walls just to ruin
it's a rental, so I'd rather not. But we can tape them, so when we peel off the tape, it'll still ruin the walls, so we'll be fine.
So on to this week's comic book highlight.
As we mentioned before, this is Harley's Little Black Book number 6, written by Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti, with art by Simon Bisley, and the colorist is Paul Mounts.
The final one from Harley's Little Black Book, we would say it was a once every 2 months release, if I remember correctly.
Something like that.
It was also at a premium price of $4.99 for the extra pages. And what they did really well with the series overall that I was always happy with is it wasn't overloaded with ads. In spite of the extra pages that you got, it wasn't like your typical book where you know the number of ads don't equal out to the ratio of pages that you get when you get something extra for $4.99. So in this case, you get tons of Lobo and Harley Quinn action.
Shoof.
And when Simon Bisley on the book, who made his name here in the States through DC Comics, through his run of Lobo, they brought him back. They had him on the Lobo team up with Harley Quinn. And results actually came out really well. I really liked the finale to this series.
I really enjoy it. I think this is probably my favorite of the Harley's Little Black Book that we had also, because the rest of them was like, okay. But this one actually told a great, compelling story from beginning to end of these two teaming up, and their personalities meshed really well together,
They did,
I felt.
yes.
And I kind of want to see them get back together at some point in the future.
Do you ship them?
I still ship Harley and Joker. I will always
Well, that's
ship
your
Harley and
OTP.
Joker. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that's my OTP. So yes, I could ship them. Okay, here's a great question for my listeners out there. If you want to hit me up on Twitter at Kelli, can you have an OTP of a couple and then a ship of one of the same people from those couples? Is that a thing that
Give me an example.
You can do? So, like, Harley and Joker are my OTP, but then
Yes.
if I ship her with Lobo, is that okay?
That is okay because that's not an OTP.
But then I'm wanting her to be with other people.
But that's her character.
But
She's
then
also with Poison Ivy.
But then they can't be my OTP.
They are, but like she loves the Joker. I can't say that she loves Lobo.
No.
I can't even say that she loves Poison Ivy the same way that she loves the Joker.
No.
So your OTP will still be Harley and Joker, but you can still have ships with Lobo or Poison Ivy.
It doesn't make me comfortable.
The book itself, though, it is about them off on a different planet and trying to survive. And much like the current run of Harley, at one point they lose their clothes, there's innuendos, there's sexy time between the two. And I told you before, because I had finished the book before you, and I said, Kelly, I know you're not a fan of Lobo. A majority, it is a product of basically the 90s. I mean, you can just look at him and think, okay, look at the chains. Look, even though, he premiered way before then,
Right.
Didn't look like he does now. I told you, after you finish this comic, if you still don't like Lobo, then you definitely don't like the character, because at essence, this is essentially modern Lobo. This is the Lobo that people think of when they see the character, when they hear the name.
It's the Lobo we deserve.
It is definitely the Lobo they were missing. And you remember when they tried to recreate him for the New 52?
Yeah, they made him real handsome.
They made him handsome and people lost their shit, and the Lobo fans were not thrilled. Very similar to when they changed Harley Quinn's look in the New 52 and we weren't thrilled. So That was a much bigger backlash, though, with Lobo, and they brought him back, rightfully so. The New 52 Lobo's trapped in a bottle somewhere. I think we saw him in one of the Superman books, and we probably won't see him for quite some time. But I'm telling you, I like this book. I like this Lobo. I'm a Lobo fan.
I liked this too. I won't go as far to say I'm a Lobo fan and like I'm going to go out and read all his stuff. He was cool. I enjoyed reading him in this book. I thought that he and Harley got along very well together and it was fun to read. And do I want to see him show up in a Harley book again someday? Yes. I think it's cool. Okay,
here's the question. Do you like Lobo?
In this book.
Do you like Lobo? If you like him in this book, that's a yes then. If Lobo acted like this in the live action movie or in the cartoons, then you'd be okay with it.
I guess he's okay, but is Lobo going to drive me to go see a movie or pick up a book? No.
You would not see the Lobo live action film?
I would see it, but would I be like, oh my god, Lobo's coming out, I gotta go see it right now? No. Like, no. But would I go see it? Yes, but I mean, he's cool, but for me, I don't really connect with him. He's kind of smelly. He's not really handsome. I like handsome Lobo better. Maybe if he cut his hair a little bit.
He's muscly. You saw his bare buns several times.
I saw his bare buns a whole lot. I could have seen like dingle bits too, but they were all covered up. So at the end of the day, Lobo's not one of my favorite characters, but he was an entertaining read.
There you go. And I liked at the end when she says, "What is my thing with guys, pale, white-skinned guys?" And I'm like, that's true.
Oh, pasty guys.
Pasty guys, that's what she says.
Pasty guys.
Very true. So awesome. I love the issue. I love it. Even if you haven't been reading, say, Harley Quinn, Little Black Book, issues 1 through 5, if you are just a Lobo fan, with Simon Bisley's name already on it, you should be buying this. Right around the corner, we've got Paul Dini joining the Harley Quinn team.
Cannot wait.
Along with Jimmy and Amanda. That is a dream come true, you know. And in an interview, he joked, like, soon they're going to just kick us off the book and keep Paul Dini on the series. I'm like, do you really?
Promise?
And we love Jimmy and Amanda.
No, they're great. Absolutely.
But they are not Paul Dini.
We have said this many times. We love what they have done with the character to bring Harley back. And this feels like the first real Harley book for us since the Paul Dini run.
Exactly.
But Paul Dini's Paul Dini, man. It's like, okay, you can have Kevin Conroy or someone who's really good, but not Kevin Conroy.
They actually approached Bruce Timm at first before Paul Dini, and he was too busy, like with the animated stuff.
Bye, Bruce Timm.
It's fine.
Bye.
He's busy making fucking Batman and Harley Quinn and animated movies, so I'm fine. Paul Dini, awesome writer, wrote with Bruce Timm the Mad Love story, and his run on Zatanna and Gotham City Sirens, the Arkham games, the two of them at least. He is an amazing Batman, Harley Quinn, Joker, anything writer. So if you put him in this series, that comic book is going to be us reading, okay, Jimmy and Amanda, this is the regular Harley Quinn stuff. Oh, here's the backup now with Paul Dini and Jimmy Palmiotti writing these. Even Jimmy said, by me working with Paul, it is making me look good. I'm sorry for Paul because he's, what's he going to say? You know, I worked with Jimmy Palmiotti, but, you know, he gave his compliments to Paul Dini and he knows how important having this creator on a Harley Quinn book is for fans like us.
Absolutely cannot wait. It's very exciting. What a time to be alive.
Oh, it's so great. We do want to thank all of our listeners for tuning in. We've also got an influx of kind comments from everyone that on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook. And that it really means a lot to us, honestly, because it keeps us going. It lets us know that you are enjoying what we're doing. And it puts us in a direction where we can go, okay, so they are enjoying, you know, the theme of what we're doing or a certain section or a certain news story. And we try to give you more of that. If you like the guest spots, if you give us feedback on a certain guest, yes, we'll try to have them on again. So whatever it is that you're enjoying and the compliments are what matters to us. And that is the most important thing, that you are there to support us, that you are tuning in, and that you are enjoying the show.
Dan, we can milk this way more.
How so?
Oh, the baby loves what you guys are saying. It's so hard for me to get out of bed with this human growing inside of me. So thank you for all the kind comments. I will use this baby shit for everything.
I view it so differently. If I were pregnant, I'd be saying I'm creating an existence for someone.
Yeah.
I look at it so existentially. Like, and you're creating existence for another living thing.
Yeah. It's crazy. It might be a chicken. I don't know.
A chicken man.
A chicken man or a
tire. Some weird genetic something rather.
But yes, thank you guys so much for all your kind words. Of course, we say it many times. The reason we do this podcast is for all of you. So to hear that we're doing something right is definitely an encouragement for us.
Thank you for the reviews on iTunes. That definitely helps us out in the show. If you find that, hey, I can't support you guys on Patreon, but I can leave you a review, please do. It takes 2 minutes on iTunes, and it really goes a long way in helping out the show and helping new listeners discover the Reasons I'm Broke podcast.
And of course, the easiest way to have new listeners find us is through word of mouth. Let your friends know, hey, you like podcasts, here's this. Or, oh, you enjoyed that movie, they just did a review on it.
What's a podcast? Let me tell you. Let me show you. And they pull it up on... All of that is... it all builds up to helping the show and essentially letting us know, too, that you also care about the podcast. And again, that all goes back to just... All of this means a lot to not only you guys, but to us. And that's incredible. I think it's an awesome thing. So huge thanks for tuning in. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Kelli.
We'll see you next week.